And good morning. Oh, so I hope you enjoyed the video with Peter Van Runt yesterday, those of you that listen on a regular basis. Today, the title that I've selected is "The System, as We've Known It, is Crumbling." How can you say that, Ron? It still looks the same to me. Well, I guess it depends on where you look. I know that I personally had a breakthrough yesterday that shifted my perspective. I'll be sharing some of that at my place in the meeting here on Wednesday night, Reclaiming Our Latent Powers. Details will not be shared in a video until Friday after the video with Aristo airs on Thursday. However, if you want to see some of the signs of change, you need to tune in to Lisa Harrison and crew on Monday and Tuesday nights, Eastern Time, US. Last night's show was packed with indicators that the system, as we've known it, is crumbling. We, the people, are finally waking up, and we're beyond critical mass. Oh, wow. Indeed, for those of you that have been listening lately, I've really been in the doldrums for the last several weeks. And part of that is that I wasn't feeling like I was creating my own reality. I felt like things were happening to me and I didn't approve of them. I didn't create them. And I felt like I was a victim of life. That's the truth. That's where I was in my experience, in my emotional experience that was going on in Ron. From the time actually that my friend from Canada, when I realized that she wasn't what she portended to be. And then one thing followed another, followed another, followed another, and it was a chain of events. And I said I'm not going to get into that till Friday. But in any case, something occurred yesterday that did indeed shift my perspective. And then I had the privilege last evening of spending 2 hours with Lisa and crew. And the first hour for me, usually the second hour is when the good stuff happens. But this time, I liked the whole program, but the first part really uplifted me. It really made an impact when Bob Wright was sharing how he went into his bank with his, not waiting for Heather to come through with her documents that are still coming. He says, I'm not one to wait. Well, I am one to wait. I'll wait till I get the documents before I go into my bank, although I have talked to my bank manager personally, one-on-one, a little bit. You know, she and I have had a relationship over a period of time with court issues, and she's been my notary. So, and on much of my paperwork. So we've had an opportunity over the last few years, anyway, to talk in some depth. And she's the one that, of course, that told me the bank cannot merely substitute one property for another on a mortgage agreement. It just can't. You just can't write in, oh, well, you used that money for this, so therefore we're going to put the lien on that when that was not what the lien was. But anyway, be that as it may, that's another whole issue. Bob went into his bank. I think it was $3.5 million, if memory serves me correctly, that he was trying to deposit in of his value. And the vice president said, you know, he talked about what was going on with the OPPT filings and how the banks had been foreclosed, etc. And she said, well, what's the source of your funds? This is the assistant vice president of the bank. I mean, it's a local bank, not one of the big banks, one of the local banks. And he says, well, I am. But what is the source of all the loans that you have ever made? Show me the source. Can you prove it back that you actually had the money, and you can go back 3 generations or whatever. I don't remember exactly how the wording is. I've read it, but I've never used it, so I've not memorized it. But she couldn't do that either. Mom, no, I can't, because they never loan money, folks. Banks don't loan money. You need to get that through your head. Banks don't loan money. People loan money to banks. Banks only commit fraud. That's what banks do. That's the system that we've known it that's crumbling. It's the financial system of the world. The commercial system of the world, as we've done business, is crumbling. And there were other indicators on the program last night of how courtesy notices have worked. There were a couple of those that were shared, at least that I can remember a couple. And then, of course, we went into the story of Kerry Campbell and then to Grant C., both of whom, well, Kerry is still incarcerated in New Zealand, and Grant just was released from 2 weeks of prison for contempt of court. And I understand where he's coming from, and he was in a pissing contest with the judge using free man tactics, and free man tactics don't work unless you get a judge that just happens to have gotten up on the right side of the bed that morning. They tend to be very resistant, and the system is still trying to be resistant, but it's crumbling. The issues, the Pope has issued orders that I think as of September 1st, there's no more immunity for lawyers or judges or politicians or anybody acting in the system that's participating in the slavery system. There's no longer any more immunity. You can't hide behind some corporate veil, some corporate structure, and claim that you have no liability. Everyone is going to be personally liable for his or her actions, period. That's the way it should always have been. We would have never had the system that we had we not developed the corporate structure in our world that allowed people, individuals, human beings, to hide behind a structure that protected them from accountability for the actions that they did. And the whole structure has been built on human slavery, which of course was built on human ignorance, which is why, waking up now, as many people around the world are doing, the ignorance is giving way to truth and to knowledge, and that is empowering more and more people like Kerry, like Grant, like many others who are standing up for their rights. And even though the police and the system may still look like it has teeth, it's losing its teeth. They're being extracted one after the other, and they're not going to be able to hold up the charade anymore, and to keep the game going as it has been going, because too many people are aware of the truth. Again, banks don't loan money. That's a mistake. That's a fraud. That's a deception. That is simply never been the way that it has been. Banks don't loan money. I may choose to loan money to someone. One of your friends may choose to lend you money. Well, by the way, just so that you know, I don't lend money, just so that you know. If I have money that I can give, I give it. I don't have strings attached. It doesn't have to come back. Now, you say, Ron, see, that brought up another thing. You say, Ron, you don't have strings attached, and yet you gave money to your friend in Canada, and then you wanted it back. Yes, because I gave it with a specific purpose in mind. I didn't ask for the money back that I gave her to fix her car. I didn't ask for the money back that to help her get a new computer. I didn't ask for that money back. That was given. Okay, that was given. But the money that I gave her for the trip, she didn't use it for the trip. She never made the trip, therefore she owes it back. Therefore, it became a loan, contingent on performance. She didn't do her end of it. I did mine. She didn't do hers. lawfully, she owes me that money back. But I didn't, she would have never had to give it back had she fulfilled her end of the bargain. She got her car fixed. That's her end of the bargain. So she doesn't owe me that back. Or actually, it's not a car, it's a minivan or whatever. But in any case, I don't loan money, but some people do. And that's a legitimate contract. I'm giving you money and I want you to pay it back at such and such a rate. Uh, oh, Lord. But banks, the value in a quote loan is the loan document itself signed by the quote perceived borrower. That's the value. And the banks know this. People in banking know that this is the value. Maybe not every teller that works in the bank and stuff like that, but anybody that reaches a level even of a branch manager, I would think, understands the principle that the value is in a negotiable instrument signed or agreed to by the client, by the customer, by the borrower, if you will. And money is put into the system based on borrowing. It's a debt slave system. That's the system we've been under. And we're recognizing that it's fraud. More and more people are recognizing the fraudulence of that, and we're going to be moving in more and more and more to claiming our value and monetizing our value till we can get beyond the need to do the money thing at all. And that might take a while. Maybe it's going to be faster than even I anticipate. I think that might take a generation. Maybe not. I don't know. But I do know that the value, the monetary value or the monetizable value in our world is the value in a human being to labor and to create and to be and do the human things that humans be and do. That's what the OPPT has given to us. That's the gift that we've received, if we can see it. Now, there are still some people talking about, well, I've been trying to get in touch with the OPPT leadership, and the organization doesn't communicate with me. Of course not. There is no leadership. There is no organization. Don't you get it yet? There is nothing to join and nothing to sign with the OPPT, which actually has done its job and it's been folded into the system. Now we need to recognize that we are the value. The value has always come from we the people. We are the ones that are in control. We are the creditors. The banks are debtors. All corporations are debtors to the people's credit. If the people move out of ignorance and move into knowledge and understand how it works, then we become the head and not the tail. Which we've been the tail because they've convinced us that they were the head. They've inverted everything. They've made themselves look like creditors when in fact they are the debtors to us. They serve us. They are the slaves. We are the masters. Do you get it yet? That's the reality. And the system as we've known it is crumbling because people are waking up and recognizing how it's always been. But it's not going to continue like that because there are huge, huge cracks in the edifice and the structure is crumbling before our eyes if we know where to look, which is why I encourage you to listen to the Collective Imagination, the One People show on, for me, Monday night, and on Tuesday night, it's just called the Collective Imagination. It's Lisa Harrison, Bob Wright, and Chris Hales, and it's the guy from California. Oh God, I'm sorry. He's also the coach of Notre Dame University's football team. Brian Kelly. Yeah, I noticed that the other day that there's a Brian Kelly that's not the same person. But I thought that was funny that Brian Kelly is the coach of Notre Dame football team. Anyway, folks, I want to encourage you, as I have been encouraged, to pay attention. Look at what's happening in the alternative media. The mainstream media is still not telling the truth. You're not going to hear it on your 6 o'clock news or on CNN or NBC or ABC, probably not even Russia Today or Al Jazeera or any of the other networks. But you will hear it if you know where to look. So if you want to see the crumbling, listen to shows like The Collective Imagination with Lisa Harrison. Listen to those. Pay attention to what's going on. They may seem like little isolated stories, but they're not. They're markers of something huge that's happening before our very eyes, if our eyes are looking in the right place. Thank you for listening. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.